Hi folks, I hope you're doing well today. My name is Bonnie and welcome to my Draw With Me series. This is a series where I showcase one of my recent speed paints while hanging out with all of you guys. Just think of this as a little snippet of what you may get during my Twitch streams. Currently, this series is monthly, so I can use this as an update on what's going on with my channel and my social media content. And be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I will give you advice on how you can make your art class situation better, even if your art teacher isn't your advocate. So sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and do something with me, whether it's working, studying, or even drawing your own lovely creations. I have a few updates this month. On YouTube, we just reached my goal of 200 subscribers this month, and I am thanking all of you. This is a huge milestone for me, and I'm so glad that you have been so supportive of my content. Can we hit 300 subscribers next? I think so. Let's try to get to that goal next. I have released a tutorial at the beginning of the month about cross-contour lines and using form to level up your drawings. You can click on the card in the right-hand corner or click the link in my description below to watch it. I am so glad the viewers and subs have been liking this video, so I have been planning to make a tutorial about my line art process soon. Let me know what type of tutorials I should do in the comments down below for future videos too. I am always taking suggestions. On Twitch, I have been planning out my streams so you can see what's coming soon. My schedule will be released on the first Wednesday of the month on Twitter, so feel free to follow me on there for more quick updates. I'm also planning to go to Mondays in June for the summertime to play some games. I'm thinking about playing Fire Emblem Three Houses since Fire Emblem Three Hopes is coming out at the end of the month. More details will be revealed when my schedule for June comes out. I'm excited to announce that Little Ash Bunny is the winner of this month's Steal Your Heart competition. Thank you so much for being a huge supporter of my channel. You can see their art and panel on my Twitch channel, and be sure to subscribe to them and give them all the love and support possible. If you want to take part in the competition, please watch my channel when I go live and interact on the channel. There are plenty of games that you can participate in to get more hearts, such as heist, stealing, and more. On Patreon, I have updated my page with the $5 tier step-by-steps and a new $30 tier for Twitch graphics that will be in my store too. My store will be in the description too if you want the graphics without joining my Patreon tier. If you want to support my channel, Patreon and my new store help support the content on here. So if you want to see more videos more often, feel free to pledge or shop on those two avenues. If you pledge on Patreon, you can see behind the scenes and early access content there. We will be expanding to tutorials, pinups, and more in the coming months. Now I want to share what I'm working on in the video. For the month of May, I wanted to join in on the mermaid fun. Mermaid is a theme in the month of May where people draw mermaids. I thought it would be fun to turn one of my favorite Genshin Impact characters, Kokomi, into a mermaid. Kokomi is one of my main characters I play as in Genshin Impact. The other two are Yaimiko and Raiden Shogun. Kokomi already has the aesthetic of a mermaid princess, so I wanted to go balls to the wall and make her a full mermaid in this one. First, I sketched the pose and composition into my sketchbook, and they re-sketched it into Clip Studio Paint. To make sure my proportions were correct, I divided Kokomi into basic 3D shapes and adjusted her pose if needed. You can get a full look at my cross-contour line tutorial up on the top right corner or in the link below. Once I was happy with the pose and proportions, I started on the line art. This process took the longest, and I actually have 3 different layers of line art. This is because I wanted to blur the foreground and the background layers and leave the middle crisp so I can show some depth of field with this drawing. Once I was happy with the line art, I would base color the drawing. Base coloring is simple for me since I use the fill bucket tool. I realized I wanted to touch up my line art during this process though, so I went back and did that. I do a lot of going back and forth in my drawing through these steps. Now it's time to render the drawing out. My rendering process consisted of making sure that the drawing didn't have any dead pixels, giving the drawing some depth where it would be from either shadowing or gradient, and coloring the line art to polish it off. Rendering in my coloring process does take the most time, so I wanted to make sure that the drawing was perfect before I went on to anything. I also added some patterns like the kimono pattern and the water patterns to the drawing, and I placed them as an overlay layer. I got these patterns through the Clip Studio asset store, so you can get them there. After I rendered, this is where I could do some experimenting with the drawing. I was first looking at my gradient mapping layers, but I found out I should be focusing on my shadow layer first. So I worked on the shadow on the multiplied layer, fixed this up before moving on to some highlights on the screen layer. And then I worked on the foreground elements. The foreground bubbles were done by erasing the middles of each item with a soft eraser and then erasing the line art for the bubbles. I added a soft white highlight to the image before blurring the front layer items with a Gaussian blur. And blurring both the foreground and background elements did help the image give that focus on the items that you wanted the viewer to actually focus on. I did about the same thing with the jellyfish too that I did with the bubbles, and I gave my item some aerial perspective by giving it a bluish purple color to match the background. I adjusted my shadow layer at this time to make a pinkish color so it could match the drawing and the feel better. And sometimes you have to do these adjustments in order to make your drawing look cohesive. I did some other adjustments like add some more waves up top, throwing a gradient map, and more, and I was extremely happy with my final result, so enjoy the rest of the speed paint while I talk about other things. I learned a lot from this one, and it did take me over 19 hours to make. So if you got this far, boop the like button and subscribe if you like this video. This helps the algorithm push my content out onto YouTube. I also share comments from my last few videos, including my Draw With Me series, so if you didn't get to see the one from last month, you can look at the top right corner or look in my description. Now onto the comments. From Zappelli, thank you so much for drawing Penelope for me. You are quite welcome, dear. I love drawing her. She was super cute and I loved recreating her, and I hope your campaign goes swimmingly. Again, if you want to be included next month, leave a comment down below and I will read it out in the next Draw With Me video. Now on to our main topic. When I was at high school for substituting, I was talking with a few of the students about their art teachers. They had a lot of opinions on their art teachers, which I thought would be a great topic for me to reflect on and compile a list of what these students said. Using this information, I can utilize how I can be a better teacher in the future and make sure that I do not slip into these habits. So, why did these art teachers suck? First of all, they were not open to new ideas about art. One of the biggest complaints I got from these students was that their teacher didn't value their stylized art. Now there's a time and place for everything, as Professor Oak said. And I could understand if this was for projects featuring figure drawing or realism, but these were just normal everyday drawings in their sketchbook. Sketchbooks, in my opinion, are for rough ideas, doodling, and personal drawings for you, the creator. This is supposed to be a safe place for your artistic and creative juices to flow. This teacher would mark inside their sketchbooks, writing all over their drawings for critique. Now, if an art teacher ever marks on your drawings, tell them to stop and that you do not like this. They may not know that they're doing this. Offer, if they want to give you critique, to please write it on a note and put it next to the page instead. Now, when it comes to the stylized art problem, follow the assignments the teacher has set out for you. When it comes to learning things like figure drawing, it does help to learn your art fundamentals like perspective, form, anatomy, and more. However, if you are in an advanced class, your teacher should be helping you develop your own style choices during this time. You are working towards portfolio pieces for art schools or universities, and this is supposed to be the time to reflect your personality. Your teacher should be helping you with developing these portfolio-worthy pieces, so let your teachers know that you have an interest if they don't know already. However, there was one major thing that was a red flag to me as their substitute. The second thing this art teacher did was she did not give art pieces back to the students. She would conveniently forget about giving a piece back to a student and then would use the student's piece as an example for next year's project. Because of this practice, the students talked amongst themselves and now are doing subpar work in the class. This is because they didn't want their projects to be stolen by the teacher and therefore didn't trust the teacher. As a teacher, your responsibility is to help your students develop a portfolio in the future. Taking a student's work without permission is unacceptable. If you are a student in this situation, bring this up to the principal. If this isn't fixed by the principal, bring it to the school board. This is your work. You ultimately decide what to do when you're finished with it, whether it's put it in a portfolio or give it to your parents or guardian as a gift. Teachers, if they want to have examples of a project, should make their own examples to showcase to the students. If a teacher wanted to show a student example, taking pictures of the work and details of that work is an acceptable practice. Especially since the little devices in our pockets called smartphones are so powerful and they keep getting better and better as time goes by. However, you as a teacher should have already worked on the assignment to know how much time your students should have on it. The third thing these students also let me know about this teacher is that they expected a master quality work in less than a week. Again, another red flag. When you work on your student's assignment, you should at least double the time of the assignment. Your students are learning and developing their skills. We forget as teachers that we've been doing this for a long time, so our techniques are polished and quicker. Understanding and implementing the assignment as a teacher will help with this problem. Unfortunately, as a student, you can't necessarily ask your teacher for an extension. However, you can, as a student, go back to a work and polish it later and make it the best it can be. The fourth thing I heard students were upset about was their teacher's unwillingness to use technology in the classroom. This teacher would block sites like Google and Pinterest, two very valuable websites for artists to look up references. References and observation are two big ways an artist can improve extremely quickly, and limiting this access is only limiting your students' growth. As a student, using sites like Line of Action and Quick Poses also helps with your observation and speed skills. I have those linked down below. You always want to improve, and gesture drawings are some of the quickest ways to do so. I've noticed that teachers are also hesitant to teach digital art as well, which is becoming more and more prominent in the art world. About 66% of jobs in the art world are actually in the digital art space. It is expected that the entire art space's job markets will be increasing by 10% each year. The estimated value of online and digital art has doubled from 2020 to 21 too. This is not counting the surge of cryptocurrency and NFT markets that are out there. It would be a disservice not to teach students about the digital art space and how they can market themselves in the future in this space. Even when I was in college in the early 2010s, I changed majors from art to marketing due to this reason. I knew in the future that I would need to learn this in order to succeed in the art space. Most artists are self-employed, so teaching kids how to market themselves is just as important or even more important than teaching them the art basics. I understand that art teachers have a hard time. They have certain curriculum to teach, they have limited resources, but as an art teacher, our main objective is to be an advocate and to prepare our students to go out into the world to be successful. If your teachers are not doing this, students, find resources to help you. You are more than welcome to use my page as a resource, and I highly recommend to watch other art tubers as well. My favorites are actually Mark Burnett, Ross Draws, and Sam Does Art, but there are tons of other artists out there too. As time goes by though, I hope I can be a great advocate for you too, and a good learning platform for all of you as well. And with that, here's our finished art piece. I hope you folks enjoyed watching this. Please like and subscribe for more videos coming soon. All my socials are located in my description if you want to see more art or hear more stories, and bye for now.